Yeah, first of all, I want to make a kind of like a disclaimer that I'm not a lawyer, and I'm just a person that got O1 visa twice, and like in the process of getting EB1 green card. So I would like just to share my own experience. And as far as I know, lawyers and like PR managers will speak after me. So it's better to look at my presentation more like just my experience, and then ask lawyer questions to the lawyers. Yeah, and a couple words about myself. So I live in the US for 4 years already, and I'm a co-founder of AI Target. So it's a martech company. We build software for marketing companies, and we work closely with Meta and TikTok and like other social networks. And my case around O1 and EB1 was about like marketing and product that we are building there. And another one, like pretty important part, and I'll tell a little bit more later about that, is that their last cases we pushed a lot about AI, and I think it's important to understand like what is kind of like a hype topic right now, because people who make a decision also think about like who you are, what is your talent for, and like how you can help US to grow. So that's why. Because our company is building tools around AI, we mentioned that in our case as well. So the structure is pretty basic. Like I will tell a little bit about like O1 and EB1 and like steps I did, and I would happy to answer questions there. And yeah, I hope like if you're listening to my presentation, you already know about O1 and EB1 green card and a visa, but in general, just like quick overview, it's a special type of visa and a green card that is given for talented people. And like America tried to acquire some talented people, so you have an opportunity to work and live in US if you prove somehow to the US that you are talented. It's pretty important to mention here is that to be talented, it doesn't mean that you need to like a Nobel Prize or something like that. You should be like in the specific areas, one maybe not on the best, but like have some proven results, and everything else is just like how you prove that for the US government. So there are, I would say, 7 or 8 maybe steps I thought about that is pretty important. Again, just like a disclaimer, it's not a lawyer advice, it's more like just my feeling. Which steps are important. And the first one is like to start earlier, meaning that if you think that in future, maybe not like in 1 year, maybe in 5 years, you're thinking about like going to US to live and work, it's better to start doing something right now. If someone invites you to participate in some competition, it's better to say yes and to properly document that, because that will help you in future a lot. And that's pretty important to show kind of like a smooth process where like government will see that you get some results step by step, rather than just get lots of results, like in the last month or like in the last year. So that's why it's pretty important. Again, if you decide to that in future you'll probably participate in O1 or EB1 visa, it's better just like get that in your mind and think about that constantly. And if you see some opportunity to participate in some competition, or maybe someone asks you your opinion in some media or something like that, you just say yes and like participate in that and get some mark for a case. The second part is, and I think it's one of the most important one, is to find a great immigrant lawyer. So I know some people who apply by themselves, but I would say that it's really hard, and there are lots of important, small things that you have to know to get a great result. So that's why I personally think that you should take an immigrant lawyer, and it's pretty important from my mind is to check that this lawyer is like a real lawyer and he has a license, because there are some people called like paralegals who doesn't have a license. They can help you somehow to apply, but it's better to find like real lawyers. And again, I know that after me, there are some people who participate in this conference and can tell you a little bit more. So when you try to select like a lawyer, there are lots of important parts how to do that. I think 3 parts are like the most important one. Are like the first one is like credibility, as I said already. So it's better just to check that he has a license. The second one is there are lots of different like industries, and it's better to find someone who already have some experience in your own industry, just because he will write like letters supporting your case, and it's pretty important to make sure that he understands like why you're talented and like how he can prove that. And if he doesn't understand your industry, that will be much harder. And the third one, and it's pretty important as well, is like to make sure that you have some kind of like personal compatibility with him. So meaning that that like you will work with him quite a long time. So you should be sure that you feel comfortable working with him. And again, like lots of different lawyers, and they have all different styles. So I would like recommend you to speak with different ones, understand like which style work better for you. The step number 3 is like start speaking with that lawyer and like taking a first consultation. Usually it costs something like around $250-350, where like you prepare before this consultation. You kind of like fill the form, you tell everything you know about your case and like your life and your professional situation. And based on the talk, it usually takes like maybe 40 minutes, 1 hour. You decide how strong is your case, and like will he be able to help you to get that O1 or EB1 success. And again, like if you start working with that lawyer, usually they put that money in your contract. But again, maybe it makes sense to speak with several ones to make sure that you select the best one. Talking about the previous slide, I would say that lots of different lawyers promote themselves. So I would say that the best way to find a great immigrant lawyer is just to find someone in your industry, better if it's your friend or someone, and then kind of like start working with the same lawyer, rather than just read some like reviews on the internet that could be not real. Step number 4 is to read some like paper and understand like what are criteria for O1 or EB1. There are lots of different sub categories like O1A, O1B, EB1A, and like lots of other things as well. Again, I think like Laura will tell more about that area, but in general, so for example, I did like O1B, and they have like 8 criteria. And as far as I remember, you need to cover 3 of them, like to prove them. And lawyers recommend to cover like 4 to have some kind of like backup plan if one area will not be covered when you try to prove that. But again, like it's a good idea to read them by yourself to understand, and even like maybe before the first consultation, understand like what are your strong areas and like what are weak areas, and like how can you probably make them strong in the future. So for example, like published materials about you, maybe you don't have like strong publications about you yet, but you can work with that with peer manager and cover that. It just takes you some time and money to do that. Again, I know that Niso will speak today, and she was my peer manager that helped me with that area. Yeah, so the step number 4 is like already covered a little bit. It's like find a company of people who will help you. Lawyer, definitely like a PR manager if your media coverage is not like perfect, yes, and maybe others as well. So the process of getting O1 or EB1 is pretty complicated and long. So some people find some helpers that help them to to speak with potential people who can write letters, collect papers, and so on and so forth. So again, it depends on like what you what you need, where you need your helping. The step number 6 is like make sure that you are responsible for for your success. So that means that even though if you have a great lawyer and like great PR manager, you just need to understand that like it's better for you to read like all papers, make sure that you understand properly their like the requirements of all area before you send anything to the government. Make sure that you double check that by yourself, and you understand like what is written there. Even though again, like if you have like perfect PR manager and perfect lawyer, anyway you know better like your case in compared to your lawyers, and even best lawyers make some mistakes sometimes. So it's better for you to find it before you send anything to government. Yeah, and probably like almost the last step is like believing in yourself, and that's pretty important because again, the process of acquiring O1 or EB1 is like pretty long and challenging. So and I know a lot of people who kind of like disappointed and say, okay, I can't do that, and just they give up. But from the other side, I just like believe in in the phrase that as my friend said that she doesn't know anyone who like walk through this process like and determined to get the result and didn't get it. So sometimes it can take like 1 year, sometimes it can take like 5 years, maybe 8 years. But if you like truly want to do that, that's just possible. You need to you need time, you need money, you need just determination, but still like if you believe that you will do that, you'll definitely do that. And the last step will be is kind of find someone who is like in the process or maybe already did it for yourself. And the best way to do it is to find someone in the same industry, saying that because again, like entrepreneurship is pretty different from graphic designers. And if you can find several people who in the process of acquiring O1 visa, you can help each other sharing like where you can publish, where you can participate in some competition, and where you can be a jury, and so on and so forth. So what I will recommend you to do is to find some like Reddits or forums or maybe like Telegram chats where that type of people are participating, and like spend some time speaking with them, reading what they're talking about, reading their cases, and that will help you a lot. And one of that group that I just share like QR code and link for you is it's unfortunately it's in Russian, so maybe not everyone will be able to read there, but it's like a Telegram group that we organized that joined like people who are in process already did their O1 EB1 that helped a lot me personally and like others as well, just to share our experience. So I hope that will be helpful for you as well. Yeah, I would say that like that's it for my presentation. I think the most valuable thing will be questions and answers. So I would happy to answer if you have any questions. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, Nikita, can I ask?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Really cool. And my question is related to the type of O1 relocation that you had, or cases about like in case of a startup. I mean, if you moving and you don't have any organization responsible for you, if it's your company or your co-founder there, what are the some details or I mean some specific moments you can recommend to pay attention for? For example, when I was getting like consultation, as you said, with one immigration attorney, they said if you have more than like 40% shares of a company, it could be a problem because you are kind of relocating yourself and you are not have employer relationship in the company. So yeah, could you elaborate on this and on the stage of startup when you think it's good enough to move under your own company?
Yeah, that's a good question. And again, like I think it's better to ask the same question later to the lawyer. But as far as I know, yeah, you have to. I think there should be a possibility for the owners to fire you from that company. So that means that that's the reason, as far as I know, again, why they need to have at least like 51% or something. So you can't block the process of firing you. That shows that you somehow like not just like taking your company and like inviting yourself, but it's a real company with like real business that invites you to the US. Again, like as far as I know, there are different approaches who will be the petitioner and like how everything is working like that. But again, it's better to ask the same question. For as far as I know, there will be at least 2 lawyers after me to make sure that it will be legally correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe part of my question was, in your case, you moved when it was already developed startup, or it was just like some.
Yeah, that was a company. It's our company, but I don't have like more than half percentage of the company there. And also, yeah, the company was not like really a new startup. It was like a pretty successful company in Russia and Europe, and we're starting like business in the US. So yeah, and I didn't have that problem because yeah, they could like easily fire me if they wanted. But again, like I just want to mention that there are different approaches for that because my last O1 visa, we decided to make a petition from a person with US passport, and it's completely different approach there. And again, it's better to speak with the lawyer which case is better for you.
Okay, thank you.
Nikita, what's about, we have a question in the chat. What's the pros and cons and the difference between O1, EB1, EB2? And mine, like a following question to you, what's maybe like 3-5 mistake you can make during the process of preparation of the visa?
Yeah, that's a good question. So first about like the difference, as far as I know, O1 is much easier to get than EB1, EB2. So one is a visa, you get it for like 3 years and you have to leave after 3 years, or you need to get like new visa or doing something else, for example, getting EB1. As far as lots of lawyers say that if you, because O1 is easier to get, like they prefer somehow the path where you get O1 first, you start working here, you show some like proves that you're talent and you get some results here in the US as well, and then as a next step they propose you to get EB1 rather than just going directly to EB1. I personally believe it depends on your case. So if it's really strong, it's pretty okay to go directly to EB1. In my personal case, we decided to go for O1 first because maybe it was not that perfect, and then get some time and prepare for EB1 in the future. Talking about mistakes, I would say like the number one mistake is not to start thinking about next step after you get O1 visa. So in my case, it was like I got the O1. I thought, okay, that's cool. I have 3 years now. Now I will focus on business side and think about like my immigration later. And as a result, 1 year before their like my deadline, there like lots of things start happening, and including this like Russia-Ukraine situation, and lawyers becomes like overwhelmed. And as a result, I was not, in reality, it was really hard to, like to apply before my deadline. And that gave me lots of real stress, because at some point I thought I would have to leave country and like to continue my process outside of the US. So that's why I would say that the best way, personally, I think, is to get a one visa, like spend maybe half a year, 1 year, like for for work, for like establishing life, and then starting thinking and maybe even applying for the next step if you decide to stay in the US, rather than just thinking that you have a lot of time. So 3 years sounds like a lot of time, but it's not in reality. So that's number one, a mistake. The second one, I would say that maybe not paying enough attention to like understanding the details of the case and like how everything is working, and thinking that again, like lawyers or like PR company or whoever will do anything for you. Like you have to to understand what is going on, and to be responsible for that part. Yeah, I would say that top two, that is pretty important.
Super, thanks a lot. Guys who listening us, maybe you have any questions to Nikita, because like he's like a real person who did the O1 visa and went through it personally and faced all the problems. So I have a question about the attorney. So what's the best way to structure like a contract with attorney? Because like usually they're sending just like one pager with some brief non-responsibility stuff. How it's better to bring them to the schedule and so on?
Yeah, I would say that first it's better, just like to understand who is the person you want to work with. I work with Anna Aronova, and she's pretty popular lawyer, but yeah, she's pretty strict, and I would say that maybe not everyone will be like it's not sometimes easy to work with her, because she like push you to make everything perfect. And I know like some of my friends say like they don't like that type of work, but me personally, I think the lawyer should be like that. So in terms of like paperwork, yeah, she just sent a paper. I read it, and that was okay. I think that again, if some of your friends work with that lawyer, they get like good result, and you have like good kind of like reviews from people you know, that's a good sign that everything will be okay. I would protect you from trying to find like just some reviews online and say okay, because I know personally right now, like lots of people, I would say that it's like lawyer bloggers rather than lawyers. So they have like a pretty popular channels. They tell you about like how easy everything is, and like you just need to do that. And when you check their license, they don't have a license. So they even can't call themselves the lawyers, like attorneys. So that's why again, I would not believe to like reviews you can find online. I would personally find your friend or someone, maybe friend of the friend, who did the whole process, speak with that person, understand like how everything is working, and like believe in that area rather than just something you're reading online.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Nikita. If we don't have any questions, okay, the last one. What's kind of visa to choose to not to be dependent of the employer?
And the employer, except TP1. Yeah, that's a good question. I would say that again, like for O1 visa, there is different approaches to go there. There is a way where you can create your own company, get O1 visa on that company, and then start working with employees, not as a like person to company relationship, but company to company. That complicates the whole relationship with the company, but that will give you an opportunity to to work for different companies as well as just to change them. But again, there are some tricks there where you like this company should be able to fire you and like stuff like that. Again, better to speak with with the 20. Yeah.
Okay.